Well, I will try to present not other study case. I mean, I will not present San Javier, but I prefer to share with you some reflections, some thoughts about the experience we already did with the students there in New Mexico University and here at the UNL in Santa Fe, Argentina, where we have the challenge, we take the challenge to think about policy making, taking into account the agenda, the 2030 agenda of United Nations and its 17 SDGs and its targets. So I would like to do this because I consider that this kind of reflection may be a sort of inspiration, a sort of invitation to continue with this collaboration and with this strategy. This is a pedagogic strategy to train our future graduate people in a new way to understand what is going on in our territories and which are the challenges we had to face in the future, which if we are able or not to find a new, more innovative solution for our problems. So what I did is I divided these thoughts in two groups. One of them is focuses related with the academic environment, and the other one is more oriented to the reflection in the policy making task. It's more oriented to policymakers. In the first group, I think that we had to try to do an effort to create a comprehensive understanding of the development notion that includes multidisciplinary rationales from diversity of knowledge fields. What I mean is that it seems that every discipline has its own understanding of what development is, and we try to work and try to put our best efforts into create a sort of common notion, a common idea of what development should be for all over the world, for all of us who work with the idea of promoting a better way of life, a better quality of life, is promoting also development. We need to transform, we need to create a better prepared environment for the interdisciplinary dialogue. We need to abandon this very old tradition focus oriented to the graduation people in very traditional careers like architects, engineers. I don't think we don't need them, but I think that we need professionals that have a different approach of our challenges, about the challenges of every region where we had to do our work. So this is the first part of my reflection. We need to be more flexible and more open-minded in our community, academics community environments to create a better scenario for the dialogue in between disciplines, in between the different sectors that had to approach and had to train people to be able to face, to address the challenges, our contemporary challenges, but mostly the challenges of future scenario. And in the other hand, my concern is about what to do to help all those who have the responsibility to promote or to produce or to formulate policies, public policies to address the challenges we have now in our different countries and in our different regions and territories with we had to deal every single day. Regarding the relation with the Agenda 2030 of the United Nations, what I think is that we need to adapt the sustainable development goals and their targets to each particular local environment. I think that a good example of this is what we already listened. We have a wonderful presentation from Norman of this study case, and we have another study case here in Argentina. They both are different, but they have something in common. Both have the same concern. Water is the key word for both cases, and water itself is not an issue, but when you have the excess of water that we have here in the area where San Javier is located, or when you have the lack of water in the case of the area of Rio Grande, in that case, water could be considered a risk, and the area became vulnerable because of this situation. And we had to be able to understand the very particular, the particularities, the characteristic specific of each area, to be able to apply this sustainable development goals that the agenda suggests us to lead our policy making. Other things that we had to understand, in my opinion, is that addressing the priorities of every local agenda is something very important, because the agendas in different regions, in different parts of the world, are not the same, have not the same needs. And it's not enough with a technical or a specific approach, but also it's very important, and probably is the main challenges we have to take into account, is that the values and belief of each local society must be considered when we have to think about make policies, to think about the policies we need to improve or to promote developing in our regions. We have here in San Javier a very important and relevant original people community, and probably the understanding they have about what nature is, about the relationship we have to have as human beings with nature, the way we understand quality of life, the way they understand equity, the way they understand poverty, probably is different, and the way our modern or contemporary society understand these issues. So taking account what local people think about their own problems is very important, to think about what policy we can promote, what policies we can think for them. The other thing I think it is important to consider is the local political timing and the difference you have with the global change speed. It seems that there are two speeds to be considered when you think about policy making. Global changes are normally faster than what happened in the local situation. Of course, there are lots of organizations like United Nations, or even the CELAC here in Latin America. CELAC is the Economic Conference for Latin America and Caribbean. And most of these organizations are trying to foster recommendations, strategies to promote a balanced sustainable development among their member countries. But what we need to know is that normally the national governments are used to force their policies and their approach, and the local government, the local administration normally needs to go slow down and try to attend the capabilities of the area to react from in front of the changes that the globalization as a process offer for their environment. Of course, most of local governments want to take a sort of participation in the benefit of the internationalization process, in the globalization process, but they need more time. They need another time to be considered. And in the other hand, what we have is that we need to find a balance in the decision-making chains that represent that we have two different components in this change of decision we normally had to take when we think about policies. And I mean, in these two components, the political component and the technical component, we had to find a sort of balance, because it's as important as to find a good technical or scientific approach to the problem is so important as to find a social consensus, an agreement in the local community, society, to find a balance in which are the best decision we can take for our community. It's not only about how much we know about the situation from an academic perspective, how much trustable could be the data we can use, but also it's important to consider which are the values, which are the beliefs of every community, and how much they are able to accept as changes to become their community in a better conditions. In this case, the last point of my reflection, which is really brief, I would like to hear your comments on what I have already said, is that normally the local government has not enough power or sources or resources to produce enough and consistent knowledge based on trustable data. So it is very important what we can do from higher education institution to help them to find a more relevant and more trustable knowledge and information to take decisions. It's really important the possibilities we have from our universities to help local communities, like, for example, San Javier, that needs a lot of knowledge, and not only knowledges, but also the support of our academic community. So the commitment of the universities in this case is very important from our point of view. That's why we are promoting these kind of programs, these kind of events and activities, and that's why I'm so happy to share these thoughts and these reflections with you. And of course, I'm very grateful of your invitation to participate in this program. And now I am really open to any question.
Hi, Miguel. My name is Martina. Well, I speak in English, but I think that it was very important what you were saying about an interdisciplinary approach where the social sciences and policymakers also contribute to the process, including peace engineering, because policymakers and political scientists and social scientists not only can identify the problem, but they can also have very important knowledge and information about the nature of the problem and the variables that are important, which proposed solutions can work politically, socially, and in the community, and which cannot. And I think that it's very important that it's not only like one direction of proposals, but also that there is feedback, and that the value of what social sciences have to say, and also the knowledge of the community, which is also valuable, that are taken into account in the process. And I think it's a very important remark. So thank you.
Yeah, I think that adding to what Martina was saying, I think that it's not, we don't need only to ask to the social science, as you have said, we have to co-work, and that's different because we have many, historically, we have many approaches who are from exact science, that when you go to the territorial and when you try to apply them, it doesn't function. So it is important to collaborate in the design of policy, not only asking them what they think about.
I agree with both of you. I'm sorry, I can answer, Ramiro. Is that okay?
Yes, por favor. Yes, go ahead, Miguel.
Oh, okay, I agree with both comments. Thank you very much for these reflections. Let me tell you a little story. We start a program. We start working in a program like this one here at the University of Litoral in Argentina over 10 years ago. And at that time, we are a comprehensive university. So we have programs in social sciences, but we also have engineering, industrial engineering, chemical engineering. We have food production engineering, which is very interesting. And when we start this program, we invite people from these programs, from food production, from production engineering. And the answer they gave us at that time was that they are not able to reflect the social agenda and how to feed people and how to better produce their the food they produce. They work with dairy production. They work with yogurt production, cream, well, whatever. And my question at that time was, but you never think about who you feed, to whom you are preparing your work. It's not only about market, it's people over there. So from this perspective, they produce a very interesting presentation that they bring to our program, and the reflection of the students were incredibly good. And we are very happy with the collaboration, and they adapt this kind of reflection, this point of view, this kind of approach to transform their programs. Now the reflection is not only how to have a better formula to produce yogurt, but they also reflect in what happened with the food they produce. How good is the production? Why Argentina is a country that can produce food for 400,000 million people and cannot feed the population in the country, which is a very controversial issue that we can never solve.
Well said. Any other comment? But I think we all agree, and I think we all agree that we all have to work together. We don't know it all, and I do senior design. We don't have thesis here, but people need to produce a final project. It has to be a project for the outside. It's not just a crazy idea. It has to work with the outside people, with the labs, industry, or whatever. The first thing I tell them is that the last thing I want you to do is the engineering work. 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, go ask exactly what they want. What do you want to solve? And work with the we call them stakeholders. Keep on asking, because sometimes the stakeholders don't have a clear understanding of the problem. So you got to work, and it's a dialogue. Why this? Did you think about that? Do we really need this? And the reason I tell everybody to spend 80%, because the engineering, we want to use the latest technology because it's hot, and I'm going to get a job using that. That doesn't work. You don't need the latest technology to solve a specific problem. Spend a lot of time, 80%, talking to your clients, stakeholders, then start doing the engineering thing. But make sure that you and that your stakeholder understand exactly. And we asked about policy. This is the first time they have to understand, why am I doing this? Am I breaking the law, or am I within the law, within the limits and all that? So this is how we introduce, because we don't have more courses. We cannot add more courses, right? I was engineering will be 10 years, or in law, you will probably spend 15 years, and you can't do that. So within 4 years, we have to inform that. 80% of the time, you talk, understand the problem, then come up with an engineering solution. You probably heard quantum computing. UNM has invested 27 years in quantum computing. The people that graduated from UNM are running the quantum computers in Google, Amazon, Microsoft, startups. It was a long-term bet. So now it's hot. Now, do you think everybody needs a quantum computer? No. So we can't just push that technology. So we have to be aware, and certain tools are good for certain things, but not the latest technology is going to solve the basic problems right off the bat. Okay. So the other thing we encourage our people is to be street smart. Tiene que salir a la calle. Because engineers, we're not street smart. We go out to the real life, we'll be hit by the first bicycle will we run over. We're not street smart. And we cannot educate people to be street smart. So you have to go out and interface and talk to people. This is the only way you're going to learn.